Hello, World of Warcraft! This is Sinan with the WoW Dungeon, and in this video I'm going to be continuing my video series on how to kite melee classes, and this is a two-part video. The first part of this is knowing thy enemy, and in this case we are doing examining the rogue class. So sit back and get ready to learn some stuff. Alright, so a rogue has two main ways to stun you. They have Cheap Shot and Kidney Shot. Both of them share diminishing returns, which means the values will be cut in half every application that they use the same ability. When they Cheap Shot you, it's a 4-second stun, and this can only be used while in stealth. Kidney Shot can be used outside of stealth, and it's on a 20-second cooldown, but it needs to build up combo points to be used. The other two CC categories that a rogue has that DRs with itself is Sap and Gouge. Sap can only be used when the target, namely you, the hunter, is out of combat, and while the rogue is in stealth. Sap is considered a ranged ability because it can be used at range, so therefore if you're in camouflage, the rogue can't sap you, or your pet, because you cannot be targeted with ranged abilities while camouflage is active. Sap can go up to 8 seconds, and rogues can do things like blind you. If you sit the entire blind, he can sap you, have you reset the stun diminishing returns on you, and then reopen with full stuns and damage on you. So be aware of being blinded, sapped, or kidneyed, and then sapped when the kidney fades, or things like that. Gouge is an interesting ability. The rogue will come up to you and just boom and gouge your eyeballs out with his fingers. It's a very high costing CC, and it should because you're gouging someone's eyeballs out. But it's a 4-second duration and breaks on damage. Both Sap and Gouge break on damage, so be aware of that. Usually a rogue won't be using these things if you have bleeds on you, so just keep that in mind. Garrote and Blind are the final two CC abilities that a rogue has, and these two do not share diminishing returns with any of the other CC a rogue has. Garrote is a silence that can only be used while the rogue's in stealth or in shadow dance. It's a 3-second silence, and you should be aware as a hunter that you can be silenced, and it will prevent you from casting some of your spells, like your traps. Blind is an 8-second fear that can be used at a small range. It breaks on damage and shares diminishing returns with anything that's like fear related. So just be aware of a blind. Blinds are usually ways to keep you out of combat for a long period of time. However, they are on a 2-minute cooldown. So if the rogue uses it at an inappropriate time, it's safe to trinket it, especially if he has no other way to reset. A rogue using his blinds intelligently is very important for rogue gameplay. So be aware of what position the rogue is in when he blinds you and what position you're in. Alright, so getting right into it, the rogue has quite a few utility spells that'll help him secure a kill. One of the utilities that they have is their tier 4 talent tree, which has Shadow Step and Burst of Speed, which are the two most common gap closers that rogues use. Shadow Step is on a 20-second cooldown, and it says that it steps through the shadows to appear behind your target and gains 70% movement speed for 2 seconds. So essentially what they can do from 25 yards away is hit it and instantly go behind you. However, it's only on a 20-second cooldown. The other utility that they use is Burst of Speed, and that is a 70% increase in movement speed for 4 seconds. And it costs 35 energy, and they can just spam this until they run out of energy. One thing to know about Burst of Speed is that you can apply slows after they've applied Burst of Speed. Burst of Speed will simply clear those movement impairing effects and then increase speed. So you can slow them down while they have Burst of Speed up. Continuing, rogues have two big defensives that they can get from their talents. The one that almost every rogue will be running is Elusiveness, which gives them a 30% damage reduction from Feint for 5 seconds. This is very powerful damage mitigation, 30% damage almost whenever they 30% damage reduction whenever they want, so the rogue really has to know when to preemptively use it. If he does that, then he can mitigate a lot of your damage. If there's a rogue that is not using it, that is because it's the rogue's problem, and he needs to be able to see when you're about to do a lot of damage to him. The other talent they can spec into is Combat Readiness, and it says, enter a state of heightened defensive awareness. Each successive weapon attack will deal 10% less damage, stacking 5 times, so up to 50% less damage, and it lasts for 20 seconds. So this is actually really powerful defensive against melee for rogues. It's a very good way to deter a lot of damage. However, it also comes at the expense of Nerve Strike, so they have to choose between Nerve Strike and Combat Readiness, and what Nerve Strike does is a passive, and it says every time you Kidney Shot and Cheap Shot, they also reduces damage dealt by the target by up to 50% and healing done by the target by 10% for 6 seconds after their effects fades. So for 6 seconds after a Cheap Shot or Kidney Shot, if the rogue is running Nerve Strike, a hunter won't do as much damage, and you won't get healed as effectively. And now the rogue also has 4 major cooldowns that you need to be aware of as much as possible. The big one is Vanish, and what Vanish does is allows them to vanish from sight and cause an improved state of stealth for 3 seconds after they vanish. So they'll pretty much not be able to be broken out of that vanish unless they're sitting in a flare, so even damage won't break them out for 3 seconds. So pretty much this is a hard reset for rogues, and they only have vanish to be able to do that, and that's on a 2-minute cooldown. The other talent is Evasion, that also you should be very aware of, and what that is it's on a 2-minute cooldown and makes their dodge 100%, so they can dodge everything so long as they are facing you, so you can actually still hit a rogue while he has 100% dodge up from the back. They can't dodge from behind them, and that lasts for 10 seconds, which they can glyph to last up to 15. So that is pretty devastating versus a hunter, because that could potentially mean 15 seconds of you not doing damage. The other big cooldown is Cloak of Shadows, which provides a moment of magic immunity, instantly removing all harmful spell effects. Now, it's not necessarily magic immunity, because you can still hit rogues with certain things. What it'll do, sometimes even from the back, I'll still be able to hit them with Chimera shots. However, it's on a 1-minute cooldown, and what really can get in the way of is 3 spells: Binding Shot, Freezing Trap, and your net from your disengage. If he's in a net with a disengage, he can Cloak of Shadows and clear it off of him. He can also Cloak of Shadows while in a Binding Shot and run through the Binding Shot before it applies the stun effect. And if you hit him with a Freezing Trap while he has Cloak of Shadows up, it'll just soak it up. He is able to get hit by Explosive Trap while he has Cloak of Shadows up, but for 5 seconds you really can't do much in the way of damage with your Chimera shots, and you cannot CC him with Freezing Trap or Binding Shot. So just be aware of that. Try to pull this cooldown very quickly. The final utility cooldown that these guys have is Preparation, and that's on a 5-minute cooldown, which instantly resets the cooldown on Sprint, Vanish, and Evasion. So essentially, pretty much guarantee that every rogue that you're going to fight has 2 Vanishes, 2 Evasions, and 2 Sprints, which is not as important. And then keep in mind of Cloak of Shadows. Smoke Bomb is an interesting ability. It creates a cloud of smoke around the rogue for 5 seconds. You cannot cast into a smoke bomb. You cannot target within a smoke bomb or be able to use abilities that hit somebody inside the smoke bomb. You have to be inside the smoke bomb to fight the rogue. The rogue takes less damage while in the smoke bomb, and it's a very scary situation to be in. When it comes to smoke bomb, if a rogue's using it defensively, that means to have you not be able to target him so he could possibly get stealth. Send your pet in. You can throw down a flare right on top of the smoke bomb, or use an explosive trap to knock him forward to you. If you are caught inside of a smoke bomb while in a cheap shot or a stun, get out of there as soon as possible. That is the kill opportunity, and that's the time where they're going to try to do as much damage to you as possible and more than likely take you out. Be careful of a smoke bomb. So while most of the rogue gameplay will be similar, each spec has its own cooldown that you need to watch out for. Assassination has Vendetta, which increases 30% of the rogue's damage towards you for 20 seconds. This is going to cause a lot of hurt because the damage that the Assassination rogue does is through poisons and damage over times like bleeds. And while he's hitting you, he doesn't actually have to stay on top of you to do damage, and you can take damage through deterrence or while he's stealth and running away. So when Vendetta's on you, it's the time that you're going to be taking the most amount of damage, and you want to stop as much of that damage from happening. The Subtlety spec has Shadow Dance. What Shadow Dance does is allows the rogue to use stealth abilities outside of stealth for 10 seconds. So while he's outside of stealth, he can do cheap shots and ambushes and garrotes without having to actually be in stealth. So he can be on top of you doing a lot of damage. In this situation, when a rogue pops Shadow Dance, if you're not already sitting in a stun, making sure to put some sort of CC on the rogue or creating some distance so that he doesn't connect with you as much as possible during that Shadow Dance. So you want to avoid any contact with the rogue. If you're going to take contact, make sure to get out of it very quickly, because that's when he's going to be doing as much damage as possible. Combat rogues have 2 cooldowns that they'll use in order to cut you down. Adrenaline Rush is on a 3-minute cooldown, and for 15 seconds it increases the regeneration rate of the rogue. So pretty much they're going to try to put in as many combo finishers on you as many times as they can. Other cooldown is Killing Spree, which is on a 2-minute cooldown. It's a buff for 3 seconds that will cause them to step through the shadows, making all of their damage to you unmitigated. It says, while Blade Fury is active, each Killing Spree attack will teleport to and damage a different nearby target. The rogue cannot be targeted or disabled while Killing Spree is active. That means this damage is not going to stop. You cannot Freezing Trap, you cannot Binding Shot, you cannot Explosive Trap to stop his damage. When this happens, that's going to stick on you like drunken embarrassment. Alright, thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you like the presentation style of the video. I put in a ton of time into this, and I want to know if it even works or if you even like it. What do you like? What don't you like? If you don't like it, please tell me so I can at least improve on that for the future. If you do like it, tell me what you like about it and what I could do more of. Now that I'm back from my vacation, I should be able to be churning out some videos. I'm going to be also getting ready to push my rating for Arena, and I'll be documenting that as well as I go up in the rankings. So stay tuned. I appreciate everybody who subscribed in the last month. Thank you so much. This keeps inspiring me to make more videos, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful week. Alright, till next time.